What's happening, everybody? Jeff Lightsy Jr. here with the Black Boss Channel, the Victory Formation Show. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe, and the notification bell because we upload just about every day. And we got a late start today because of some stuff this morning, but we're here to go and bringing you the Victory Formation Sports Show. Now, today I want to talk about Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, the two of the best young, bright quarterbacks in the NFL. And they just so happen to be black, and I love talking about black folks. And just to show you some numbers that may actually surprise you about these guys' game. Now, we know Lamar Jackson gets a lot of heat, right? Like Lamar Jackson has accomplished more in his first 3 full years starting than most guys will ever accomplish in their NFL careers, right? Like, so that's why he in his play, the way he plays the game is just totally different than most we've ever seen before. I mean, we saw Vic kind of light it up this way, but nobody really plays the game like Lamar Jackson. Like nobody really takes into account how the man really is able to dominate this game and how he has won an MVP, how he was taking the last pick in the first round, and he's literally better than probably all of those guys taken before him, right? Like the only one that's comparable is Josh Allen, and people are hyping up Josh Allen, but he's only done it for 1 year. Lamar has at least done it for 2 and has actually won a league MVP and has actually won a playoff game and has actually, helped this team get a number 1 seed in the AFC. So like Lamar is tough, but I'm going to show you something that actually might surprise you about Lamar Jackson. And it was a graphic put up by CBS Sports yesterday, and it compares Lamar Jackson to Patrick Mahomes. Now, this is the graphic. I saw this, and I was just amazed by it because it was something that kind of shocked me. So we're looking at Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. And the numbers are a lot closer than you expect, is what the graphic says. It says since the 2019-2020 season. So it's 2019-2020. So the last 2 years, the records, Patrick Mahomes is 25-4. Lamar Jackson is 24-6. Similar winning records. Their touchdown to interception ratio. Patrick Mahomes has thrown 64 touchdowns and only 11 picks. Lamar has thrown 62 touchdowns and only 15 interceptions. Their completion percentage. Patrick Mahomes is throwing 66%. Lamar Jackson is throwing for 65%. Their QB rating, 106.9, 106.6. And their total touchdowns. So what matters the most? Because the objective of football, guys, remember, is to score touchdowns. The objective, and let me make sure you can see this, the objective of the game is to score touchdowns. And Lamar Jackson's has more touchdowns. He's at 76. Patrick Mahomes is at 68. Whoa. Like, whoa. Like, I mean, even I was surprised by this. Even I didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think it was this close. I didn't think this was, does this not, yes or no? Do these stats surprise you? Yes or no in the chat. Do these stats surprise you how close Patrick Mahomes, who was regarded as the undisputed best quarterback in the entire NFL, the undisputed best quarterback, best young quarterback, and best quarterback overall in the entire NFL, and how closely his stats similar. Lamar Jackson, someone who a lot of people think is still trying to figure the quarterback position out. So someone who a lot of people don't believe is elite. Someone who a lot of people says has a lot to work on, which I can agree. Lamar does have some things to work on. But if Patrick Mahomes is the undisputed best quarterback in the league, right? It's like Mahomes, you got Rodgers, you got Russell Wilson. There's not 2 or 3 quarterbacks that you would name over Patrick Mahomes. And Lamar Jackson has the exact same numbers, essentially. 25-4, 26-6, 24-6, 64-11, 62-15, 66 completion percentage, 65 completion percentage, 106.9, 106.6. 68 total touchdowns, 76 total touchdowns. I mean, these numbers are it's like having identical twins. But the way they do it, and this is not even taking into account the rushing numbers. Now, we know if we look at the rushing stats over the last 2 years, Lamar Jackson has had over 1,000 yards rushing in both of the last 2 seasons. So he would wipe the floor with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I'm giving it to you. I'm not making this up. This is CBS Sports. I would think CBS Sports is pretty legit, but we can fact check them. But CBS Sports is a pretty credible source. It's not like it's your favorite blogger. It's not even like I'm just giving you the numbers right off the top. These numbers are from a legit source. So how is it that, I'm going to bring it back to me, how is it that we don't consider Lamar Jackson an elite player? Why don't we consider Lamar Jackson the cream of the crop? Why is it that Lamar Jackson gets a lot of flack as opposed to someone like Patrick Mahomes? When Patrick Mahomes goes out and plays bad in the Super Bowl, we'll say that it was the offensive line. If Lamar Jackson goes out in the playoffs and plays bad, we'll say it's Lamar Jackson's fault. Now, I'm going to read some of shout out to Kevin Campbell. I've known Kevin since I was a small child. Kevin says Lamar the GOAT. Let him get a wide receiver number one and offensive coordinator that trusts his ability more, and he's going to go off even more. And I agree with Kevin because Lamar Jackson, one thing that Patrick Mahomes has, and he's accumulated similar numbers to Lamar, right? Like we just looked at it. We literally just looked at it. And Patrick Mahomes has done those same similar numbers as Lamar with Travis Kelce, with Andy Reid, with Tyreek Hill, with an offensive line that's pretty elite. Besides the Super Bowl, they had 2 guys hurt, but they've had some nice weapons, some guys that are pretty good, like really, really good. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL. I don't think there's a debate about that. Tyreek Hill is a top 3 receiver in the NFL, no less than top 5. Like you can't name 5 receivers in the NFL better than Tyreek Hill. So you got 2 of the best offensive weapons, and then you took Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the number 1 running back in the first round of the NFL draft last season. So you have 2 of the best weapons in the NFL, easily, hands down. While Lamar Jackson is working with Mark Andrews, his best receiving threat is a tight end, Mark Andrews, who was taken in the 2nd round and is yet to show that he is elite. He's a really good player, but he's yet to show that he's not a Travis Kelce. He's not that good. He's not a Tyreek Hill. He's not that good. And then his best wide receiver guy on the outside is a 5'9" Hollywood Brown who can't seem to catch a cold. Like, and these guys have a case of the drops every playoffs. Like every time the Ravens go to the playoffs, it seems like either Andrews or Willie Snead or Marquise Brown, all these guys seem to get the case of the drops. Like they seem to can't hold on to the football anymore. And that is mind-blowing to me. Like how we can consider Patrick Mahomes as good as he is, and he's got the same numbers as Lamar Jackson. Now, one thing that we didn't show was the actual passing yards. Patrick Mahomes has a lot more passing yards during that span than Lamar Jackson, right? And it goes into having those weapons, having a Tyreek Hill, having a Travis Kelce, having Andy Reid calling the plays, or Eric Bieniemy calling the plays. Whereas Lamar Jackson has a Jim Harbaugh who is a little more conservative. Has I think it's Marty Morningwig or whoever's offense coordinator is a little more run-centric. They run the ball a lot heavier. So we have to like really take all of that into account. Now, obviously, at this point, and here's the thing about sports, right? Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Here's the thing about sports. When you're playing sports and you're at a certain level, when you're at the level of a Lamar Jackson, when you're at the level of a Patrick Mahomes, and you're at the level of like a Russell Wilson, especially at this stage in the NFL, we no longer care about Greg Roman. Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator. Shout out to My Name is Corey. Greg Roman is offensive coordinator. But when you get to a certain level of your profession, you're so good, right? Like these guys are the elite, right? They're the best in the game. We no longer care about regular season stats. Like, unfortunately, whether right or wrong, we no longer care what you do in the regular season. We don't care as fans. It's like, okay, been there, done that, bought that t-shirt. We don't care about we don't care that you can go out and have the same numbers as the guy we say is the best quarterback in the league. Like, we don't care that y'all numbers are literally identical. Like I just showed it. They're literally identical. You could do a blind resume and you couldn't tell me whose was whose from the numbers we just shown. Honestly, you probably would have thought Patrick Mahomes' stuff was Lamar Jackson because he had more touchdowns. He had a nice amount, I think it's 7, 8, 9 more touchdowns. So we can't really do that. But when you reach this level, we care about your success in the postseason. And Lamar has yet to have real postseason success. He's 1-3 in playoff games, 1-2 in playoff games. So in 3 career playoff games, he's lost 2 of them. He's only won 1. Whereas Patrick Mahomes, on the other hand, with those same weapons that I talk about, with that same coaching staff that I talk about, has endured a level of success that's unmatched. Besides like Brady, right? Like the only person that's had more success in the playoffs the last 3 years than Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes has won a Super Bowl. He's been to another one, lost another one, and been to in his first year, went to the AFC Championship game. It's unmatched during this 3-year span. During the same 3-year span, nobody else has done that besides Sir Tom Brady. and that's it. So that's why Patrick Mahomes always gets the edge over Lamar Jackson, is simply because he has that playoff success. That lack of playoff success is now going to follow Lamar Jackson. You want to know why? Because he was never supposed to be this good. When you're this good and you're not supposed to be, instead of just hyping you up and praising you and be like, man, you were the 5th quarterback taken in this draft and you're the best. You were the 5th quarterback taken in Lamar Jackson's draft. You had Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, all these guys taken before Lamar Jackson. He was the 4th quarterback, the last pick of the 1st round. He was not supposed to be this good. And he damn sure wasn't supposed to be this good this fast, this early in his career. A lot of people thought he was a career backup or was going to be a gadget player or a project. I remember Colin Cowherd called him a project, not a prospect. The man won a Heisman, had the best seasons in Louisville football history. I know a lot of people don't watch ACC football, right? Like I know you're the big dogs unless you're Clemson or watching SEC. But this man was literally had the greatest stats and the greatest years in the history of ACC football. He was the best player in the history of ACC football. That includes Deshaun Watson, who was a top 12 pick. That includes Mitchell Trubisky, who was the number 2 overall pick. That includes Donovan McNabb, who was the number 3 overall pick. Like, this is how good this man was. He was the best in the conference ever. 2-time ACC Player of the Year, Heisman Trophy winner, Maxwell winner, Walter Camp Player of the Year winner. Like, this man was amazing. Literally made dudes look slow. The fastest man in college football made him look slow, made him look incompetent. And Louisville's program hasn't been the same since he left. Trust me, I know, I'm a Louisville fan. We have not been the same since that special talent left. And that's what happens to a lot of programs. Unless you get another one to replace them in college football, like you're Alabama or you're Clemson, you just have these special factories. When you get a player like Lamar and he leaves your college program, it's going to take you a while to get back. Ask Auburn. Auburn ain't been the same since Cam left. Ask Louisville. They ain't been the same since Lamar left. Ask a lot of these big-time programs. Virginia Tech's been really good. They ain't been as good since Vic left. Like, it's just the truth. And when you have a special talent in your building, especially when you don't get guys like that very often. Louisville gets a lot of good football players. They don't get Lamar Jacksons ever. They don't ever get those guys. That's like getting a Triple Crown winner in the horse racing industry. You don't come across those guys too often. And they had them a thoroughbred, a Triple Crown winner. And he's winning. And guess all he's done in the league is literally put up the same stats as the undisputed best quarterback in the league. And he doesn't get the same praise. Why is that? Why is that? Why don't he get the same? Why doesn't he get the same praise? It's crazy. It's so crazy to think about. Be sure, like I said, hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. We're talking Lamar Jackson. We're talking Patrick Mahomes. We're talking why is it that Lamar doesn't get the same love as Patrick Mahomes. And I want to tell you it's because he hasn't had that same playoff success. Like I said, we could go cross sports anytime that we finally admit, okay, you are good. Like you're better than good. You're elite. You are the elite of the elite. Now I need you to win some games. Now I need you to win a championship. Now I need you to have postseason success. And Lamar has yet to find that postseason success. Okay. So, 1 in a million, Bree, 1 in a million. So moving on to Dak Prescott and Russell Wilson. So I really love how the NFL players or the quarterbacks, and not even just the quarterbacks, like these quarterbacks, like these top dogs, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott. Well, I don't know if Dak's in that category, but Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson especially. These guys are now taking the power into their own hands. And they're taking a page out of the NFL's book of guys, because the guys have been doing this. Even in the NFL, they've been doing it. But quarterbacks really haven't done this to a great extent, not to the extent that we're seeing right now. And they're taking a page out of the NBA book because we see NBA players do this all the time, right? Like we credit LeBron James for player mobility because before him, you would see free agents signing with different teams, right, for money, but they wouldn't always take less money to sign with a team to try to win a championship. And now we're starting to see that in the NFL. If the quarterbacks, especially the elite quarterbacks, aren't getting what they want, they're voicing their opinion, they're making their opinion known, and they want to make it happen. Like, hey, you guys don't respect me, I'm going to put myself out there. And we're kind of seeing that with Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson has not demanded a trade. It has been reported very widely that he has not demanded a trade from Seattle. But he has challenged Seattle to, one, get him better help on the offensive line, and for two, if they were to trade him, he gave them 4 teams that he'd go to. He said the Raiders, the Saints, the Bears, and the Cowboys. Now, that last team is very, very interesting. Here's why the Cowboys is so interesting. It's super interesting why Russell Wilson wanting to play for the Cowboys. It's really appealing, and honestly, I hope it happens. As much as I do not like Dallas, I do not care for the Cowboys at all, not one bit. I really do hope he ends up on the Cowboys, and here's why. There's a number of reasons why Russell Wilson would want to play for the Cowboys. One is because he feels disrespected. He feels disrespected by Seattle. Why is that? Seattle is still treating Russell Wilson as if he's that 3rd-round pick that was supposed to be the backup to Matt Flynn back in 2011. They're still treating him like he's that guy. He's no longer that guy, Seattle. This man is a Super Bowl champion, a 2-time Super Bowl, been to the Super Bowl twice in his career, and over the last 5 years has been the sole reason why your team is in any kind of playoff talks or any kind of Super Bowl talks. It's Russell Wilson. It's point blank, period. But they're still treating him as if he's that 3rd-round pick that was supposed to come in and be Matt Flynn's backup. But that 3rd-round pick came in and won the starting job as a rookie, 3rd-round pick, when they paid a man $10 million at the time, which was a lot of money for a guy who had never really been a full-time starter. Paid him $10 million to be the starter in Seattle, but Russell Wilson was so good they had to start him because he was the best player. And they're still treating him like that. All he said was, guys, I want some say in personnel. I want some say in who gets added to the roster. I am the franchise quarterback. I am the best player on the team. I am the reason why our team's any good. Like, I am the reason why we have any kind of success. It's not the defense anymore. The defense is horrible. You guys went out and got Jamal Adams. He's a good player, but the defense is horrible. It's not the offensive line. I've been sacked. Yeah. So, we had some Wi-Fi issues. Yeah, he's like, I've been sacked the most times since 2011. So it's not the offensive line. So why wouldn't he want to go to Dallas? What does Dallas have? Dallas has literally everything that a quarterback's dream. They have a good running back. They don't have the same offensive line they had a few years ago, but they still have a really good offensive line. And they have 3 legit number 1 wide receivers. And Dallas has a top 10 pick that they can trade and a quarterback that they can trade. They can send Seattle Dak Prescott. And you can swap Dak for Russ. And if that is a play Jerry Jones can make, I'm sure he is going to try to make it. Jerry Jones is a deal maker. Jerry Jones is someone who makes deals, who tries to improve his team. You would think would try to improve his team, and more than anything, wants to improve the notoriety of his team. He wants to let everybody know that this guy's a Dallas Cowboy. And Russell would love to be in a major city like Dallas. Russell is married to an entertainer. He is married to Sierra. He is married to someone who would like to be seen by more lights than what's in Seattle. And to be in the star, to be on the most valuable franchise in all of sports, not just in North American sports, not just in football, the most valuable franchise in all of sports, and to be the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, why not? And the thing is, Dallas has enough firepower to make it happen. Like I said, they have a top 10 pick in this year's draft. They have a quarterback in Dak Prescott that is pretty good that they can send to Seattle. And they have players. Pick a player. They have players on the roster. You want CeeDee Lamb? Cool, take him. You want, Michael Gallup? Cool, we can package him too. Whoever. They have players to send to the Cowboys to make this happen. And that's what makes this interesting. Now, personally, I would love to see Russ on another team that he named, and that's the Las Vegas Raiders. Why do the Vegas Raiders make sense? Once again, an entertainment capital. His wife is an entertainer. His wife still performs shows once COVID's over. His wife still makes albums. Like his wife, Sierra, still wants to be in an entertainment capital. Las Vegas is an entertainment capital. The Raiders have an amazing offensive line. Say what you want about the Raiders. John Gruden can call plays, and the Raiders' offensive line is elite. It's one of the top offensive lines in the league. Russell Wilson has already expressed that he no longer wants to get hit. Russell Wilson has already expressed that he wants to not be leading the league in sacks again. Russell Wilson has already expressed he wants to play with a team that's going to protect him. That's what the Raiders have. They have all that to offer. Now, the thing is, they don't have the draft capital. They don't have the leverage. They don't have these kind of things to give Seattle as Dallas. Dallas has the most firepower. Dallas has the most to offer. And that's why it makes a lot of sense for him to go to Dallas. Now, what I'm saying, who this hurts the most, it hurts Dak Prescott the most. Because you guys got to think, Dak Prescott is not under contract. Dak Prescott is still trying to get a deal. Dak Prescott thought he was going to be able to play hardball with the Cowboys and really leverage himself being a free agent to not get tagged and to get a long-term deal. Well, if this Russell Wilson play is now an option, Dallas can tag Dak, package him with that number 9 pick, and maybe potentially another player or another future first-round pick, and ship him to Seattle and bring back a better quarterback for a cheaper deal. Think about it. Russell Wilson's already under contract, and his current contract is a lot cheaper than what Dak's would be, because Dak's not signing for under $38 million a year. Dak's not signing for he probably wants it closer to the 40 range. And you get a better player because nobody is going to argue that Dak Prescott is better than Russell Wilson. So you're going to get a better player and Russell Wilson. And you're going to get a better player, better quarterback, and on a cheaper deal. So if you don't think Jerry is exploring trading Russell Wilson, these reports aren't just coming out of nowhere. Where there's smoke, there is fire. And so if you think that Jerry Jones isn't considering pulling the trigger, trying to bring Russell Wilson to Dallas and getting a legit legit elite quarterback, not a legit quarterback as Dak is a legit quarterback, but an elite quarterback. And that's going to easily win you the division. Easily. The Dallas Cowboys, not only are they going to be the favorites, they're going to easily win the division, the NFC East, against Jalen Hurts and Daniel Jones and Taylor Heineke in Washington. Like, he's easily the best quarterback. He's easily going to win the division. But Dallas would legit become a Super Bowl contender if they went out and got Russell Wilson. A Super Bowl contender. The same is not the said if they bring back Dak. It's not the same. Easily a Super Bowl contender if you go out and get Russell Wilson. With that protection from that offensive line, I believe you can get Zeke back rolling. He'll be back in shape. Easily a Super Bowl contender. Easily. I have no doubt in my mind. So that's why that is something to watch out for. Russell Wilson to Dallas. And it's funny because Michael Irvin, the Hall of Famer, the 3-time Super Bowl champion, the Dallas Cowboy legend, came out and said Russell wants Dak's spotlight. Because here's the thing about NFL players or just big time football players anyway. You want to hate me if they hear. Yeah, you're right, Tyler. I probably will hate you and CJ and my Uncle Dwayne and Ollie and my mom and all these people that love Dallas, that love the Cowboys. That you guys would get pretty annoying if you ended up getting Russell Wilson. And here's the thing. So Mike Irvin made a interesting statement. He said that Russell Wilson wants Dak's spot, right? He said Russell Wilson wants Dak's spot. And for the longest, Russell Wilson has been in the NFL 9 years. He's going into his 10th year. He's always been really humble, right? Like super, super humble, super, super like by the book, whatever the organization wants him to do, do it, everything, not stay out of trouble, all of these things, super, super humble. QB talk. They call it QB speech when he speaks because he never says anything out of line. And for the first time in his 9-year career, 10-year career, he finally said something that was interesting, that was like newsworthy, that has got people like me and other folks in the media talking. And that is when he listed through his agent. Wasn't like a source. His exact agent came out and said, Russell's not demanding a trade, but if Seattle wants to trade him, here's the 4 teams that he'd play for. And he has a no trade clause. So if you decide to try to trade him somewhere besides these 4 teams, he's just going to deny it. So it's not going to happen. And so when Michael Irvin said Russell Wilson wants Dak's spot, to me, and with Russell also putting out that statement of 4 teams he played for, he's like, man, I'm tired of being humble. There's no more being humble. There's no more being humble for Russell Wilson. He's like, dog, I have been humble my entire career. I've done nothing but be diligent to this league, to this organization, and all I get is a slap in the face. They don't want to consult me on what they're doing, on the moves they're making. So guess what? I'm going to play my trump card. I'm going to put out these 4 teams and let it be known, if these 4 teams want to try to come get me, guess what? You can have me. I'll go there. I'll go play with you. And here's why. Because Russell Wilson has gotten to the stage of his career where he's like, dog, y'all need me more than I need you. You drop Russell Wilson. There's 32 teams in the NFL. You can drop Russell Wilson on damn near any of the 32 teams in the league, and they instantly get better. Instantly. If Seattle loses Russell Wilson, whether they trade him and they don't get a guy like Dak in return, or they try to draft somebody to replace him, they're begging to God that they can find another Russell Wilson. And then 9 times out of 10, they're not going to. They're not going to find another Russell Wilson. And so Russell knows this. You know what I'm saying? He knows he's been in the league too long now. He's been too great. He's been at the pinnacle of this league for too long. And so he's no longer being humble. He's like, dog, forget being humble. Now I'm going to take my career into my hands. I'm going to make things happen and say things that I wouldn't have said 5 years ago, that I wouldn't have said 6 years ago, that I wouldn't have said 3 years ago. And I'm not being humble no more. And I think a lot of the quarterbacks in the league, especially the black ones, especially the black quarterbacks, they seem to be taking this approach. No more being humble, man. No more just sitting back and letting folks tell me what I can and can't do, tell me what I can and can't say. If y'all going to disrespect me, then I'm going to do what I want to do and say what I want to say and move how I want to move. If you don't act accordingly, I won't act accordingly. I'm tired of being humble. Like, I'm tired of just doing whatever, being a yes man, being a company man. All I ask, I'm doing that. Cool. I'm cool with doing that. But all I ask in return is to give me a little say on personnel decisions, to give me a little heads up when you're about to make something happen, when you cut somebody, when you trade somebody. You don't have to run everything through me. I'm not the organization. I'm not the GM. I'm not the head coach. But I'd like a little say, at least on the offensive side of the ball. And folks are disrespecting them and not giving them that. So guess what? Now I'm going to put it out there. There's 4 teams that I go to. There's 4 teams that I'd pick up over this team. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like it seems to be like, you know who else got tired of being humble? Tom Brady. He had won 6 Super Bowls at his place, and they still treated him like a regular employee. So guess what he said? Man, I'm tired of being humble. I'm going to go down to Tampa Bay, and guess what? New England stinks, and Tom Brady won a Super Bowl. These teams really need these quarterbacks more than the quarterbacks need the teams. Because if you're an elite quarterback, 9 times out of 10, you can go to a different organization and still be elite. Tom Brady said, man, I'm tired of being humble. New England, I've won 6 Super Bowls here, and y'all still treating me like dog crap. Guess what? I'm going to move on to Tampa Bay and make it happen. And it almost happened in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers. It's like, I'm tired of being humble. You dudes is disrespecting me. Drafting quarterbacks in the first round instead of getting me a receiver, instead of getting me an offensive lineman, instead of getting me a pass rusher. You're going to draft a damn quarterback in the first round? I'm tired of being humble. I'm going to go out and light it up on the league. And if you don't do what I say, then I'm trying to get out of here. And guess what? Green Bay tightened up real quick because Green Bay knows they ain't finding no Aaron Rodgers. They tightened up real quick. So Russell Wilson's like, man, I'm tired of being humble. It's time to make something happen. And so now, if Dallas, if you can come get me, come get me. Come make it happen. Because this team obviously don't respect what I'm doing. And the same thing, transitioning, the same thing is happening with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson has been a stand-up guy, a model citizen, just everything. He's literally been everything the Texans could ask for, everything and more. He honestly is overachieved. He's overachieved because they took him with the 12th pick. The man was well worthy to be the number 1 overall pick. Number 2, because at the very minimum, number 2 behind Mahomes because they was in the same draft. And he's like, man, I've done everything to this organization. I've given it my all. All I asked was for some say in personnel decisions, hiring of the GM, hiring to interview these coaches for a head coaching job. And y'all won't even do that. I'm tired of being humble. Get me out of here. And guess what? I'm willing to miss out on games if you're not going to move me. I'm willing to hold out if you're not going to move me. I'm willing to say, man, forget all of this if you're not going to move me. And I love it. He's watching former teammates link up. JJ Watt goes and signs with the Arizona Cardinals, get with DeAndre Hopkins again. And he's gonna really like watch that happen in Arizona and potentially watch them be one of the best teams in the NFC while he's stuck in Houston. Man, bump that. Get me up out of here. Get me up out of here. And guess what? Don't try to trade me to no garbage team because guess what? I have a no trade clause. I can interrupt anything that is being done. And the NFL players, and it's only a certain amount of NFL players that can do this. They're becoming elite when it comes to demanding what they want. And he says, you really think Russell Wilson wants to play with Zeke and Lamb? Absolutely. Absolutely. Russell Wilson would love to play in Dallas. One, it's the market. It's a metropolis. His brand can continue to grow. He can do more commercials. He can be more noticeable. He'll garner more notoriety by being in Dallas. Dallas is people don't understand this. The Dallas Cowboys are the number 1 organization in all of sports. The number 1 most valuable of sports. Not in North American sports, not in just the NBA and the NFL and the NHL and the MLB. That includes those soccer teams with the international stars with 50 million, 200 million, 300 million Instagram followers. Dallas is bigger than those teams, the teams that they play for. Ronaldo has like 300 million Instagram followers. Messi has like 250 million Instagram followers. And the team in Dallas, Texas costs more or is worth more than those teams that they play for. Yeah, so that's how big Dallas is, and that's how cool it would be to see Russell Wilson play for a team, and the NFL would love it. Like to have Dallas, their most valuable franchise, back in playoff contention, back in Super Bowl contention, first time in almost 30 years, first time in 25, 26 years. They would love it. The NFL would be marketing the hell out of that. That is something that will be pushing upon his fans like crazy. They already got the most fans in the country, as crazy as they are, as insane as they are. They really think the team's going to win a Super Bowl every year, but they would legit be a Super Bowl contender with Russell Wilson. So, man. But the NFL players are now becoming, certain NFL players, especially the quarterbacks, are becoming the superstars and really showing their leverage, showing their hand. Look, man, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, if you don't respect me, cool. Don't respect me. Get me up out of here then. If you don't want to hear what I got to say, cool. I will put out a list via my agent of teams that I believe will respect me and will have to hear what I got to say. And that's beautiful. The danger behind that is that the NFL isn't like the NBA. The NFL owners don't like to give their players this much power. The NFL is a league that will create rules to try to prevent this from happening. That's the scary part. That is the scary part. The NFL will try to create certain rules to prevent guys like Russell Wilson putting out names of teams that they want to play for. Or guys like Dak Prescott, guys like, what's the man's name? Deshaun Watson, from demanding trades and holding out games. There's only so much you can do, but that is what the NFL's like. And they don't like their guys, bucking the system. They don't like that. That ain't their style. NBA, hey, it's a free-for-all. It is what it is. But the NFL does not like guys bucking the system. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe. And so I'm going to circle back to my original topic, and then we'll get out of here, guys. Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. Now, Lamar Jackson, literally, and I'm going to show it one more time because it was pretty mind-blowing how close these guys' numbers were. It was Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes. Let me go. This is my Facebook chat, but it was a thing that I reposted yesterday. And like I said, it's something that most people probably didn't know. How good Lamar Jackson has been since he entered the NFL. Look at his numbers compared to Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson. Patrick Mahomes is 25-4. Lamar Jackson is 24-6. Patrick Mahomes' touchdown interception ratio is 64-11. Lamar Jackson's is 62-15. Completion percentage. Patrick Mahomes is a 66.1. Lamar Jackson 65.3. QB rating is 106.9 for Patrick Mahomes, 106.6 for Lamar Jackson. 68 total touchdowns for Pat Mahomes, 76 total touchdowns for Lamar Jackson. And at the end of the day, because those stats are, mind-blowing how good they are, how close they are. At the end of the day, it comes down to playoff success. Once Lamar Jackson gets some more playoff success, for one, he is going to show that a certain style of player can win in this league, can be at the pinnacle of this league. And for two, it's just going to be something that GMs, coaches, executives around the league are going to have to admit that, man, this dude is just special and that we were wrong. And that now we have to continue to find guys that all they care about is winning, like a Lamar Jackson. No matter how they play, we have to shape our offense and our team around him, get them some weapons, because Patrick Mahomes, during that same span, him and Lamar Jackson have similar numbers and drastically different weapons. Pat Mahomes has got Tyreek Hill. He's got Travis Kelce. Lamar Jackson's got Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown. It's not the same. We are not the same at all. But that they're held to the same standard. And that, to me, that just isn't fair. And I really just can't wait till Lamar finds that postseason success. So there's no more excuses and there's no more reasons not to put him as one of the elite of the elite in the NFL. Once again, I'm Jeff Lightsy Jr., guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Victory Formation Sports Show. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like, share, subscribe on your way out, and I'll see you guys next time.